everyone. Welcome back to Gallagher's Grip. This is Daniel Gallagher here for another awesome episode here on a lovely Saturday morning. I've got one awesome guy here with me. This man is local town USA. His name is Tony Barclay. If you follow me on my podcasts, you follow me on my TikToks or YouTube, you'll see that I mentioned this gentleman before in one of my my shows. This guy's a cancer survivor. This guy is an unbelievable father. He has a daughter named Dixie who is wheelchair ridden, and he's got a massive amount of responsibility. And I've seen him in action as ironically, Tony is lives in the same area that we do. And I've seen this man take care of his daughter at the highest level. And I'm so happy that he's here. I'm happy he's a guest. I'd like to introduce you to Tony Barclay. Tony, thanks for being a part of Gallagher's Grip. How are you today? Good morning.
Good morning. Bill, good. Thanks for the invite.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So Tony, listen, you've got a, when you and I were talking, okay, you started to explain to me a lot of things that happened to you. And as I've said on my previous podcast, and I believe this, you think you got it bad, you talk to the next guy, right? And their stories sometimes make your mouth, just drop. And, your story made my mouth drop a bit to the point where, I thought it was relevant for you to come here on the show. And I'd like for you to start with basically the beginning of where things really got tough for you, as you started to proceed through life.
Well, the things got tough January 2024 when I was diagnosed with multiple myeloma. So that took a turn on me and the whole family once we found that out. So I had to stop working in May because the tumor was too painful to keep on working because I'm a union carpenter. So I couldn't, do all the bending and all the lifting. It was just too painful. So I started there, and I had to do a stem cell transplant in June. So I was in the hospital for 3 weeks for that. So that was really tough. It was like killing all your blood cells, you were actually like dying in the hospital. But that was pretty bad. So then after that, basically life just went downhill after that.
Well, you said you were in the hospital for 3 weeks, Tony?
3 weeks, yes.
My God. So they had to do a surgery to remove the tumor? Is that?
No, the tumor's still there.
Oh, okay. All right.
They had to do a stem cell transplant. They took stem cells, and then they cured them, and then they put them back inside of it.
And is it okay if I ask, was that successful? I mean, it seemed to be successful.
No, it was not successful. The first one was not successful.
And it was that super painful?
It was very draining, and like I didn't eat, I didn't drink in the hospital. I just felt like sleeping. Yeah, it was not painful at all. It was just very draining.
Man, unbelievable. So where are you at now? How are you feeling now?
Now I do one chemo pill a night, and I also go once a month for chemo shots, Northwest.
Okay. And is it under control, Tony? I mean, is that where it's at right now? I mean, big picture.
Yeah, right now they say it's under control. I mean, when it comes to doctors, they say what you want to believe. They don't sit there and tell me the whole truth.
Yeah.
So they say it's under control, but they want me to take chemo pill every night.
Well, Tony, I have some comments on that. Sure, take the chemo pills. Let's just go ahead and bill the heck out of the insurance companies. Believe me, I have a whole stance on that and a whole prerogative on that. But well, I mean, when I was with you, it seemed like you were doing great, and I have a family member that went through quite a bit of that. I had a brother that had brain cancer, and he's no longer with us, but brain cancer is a bit of a different deal, I would imagine. And he fought the fight, but it's very clear that you're a fighter. There's no question about it. I mean, when you were telling me, oh my God, when you were telling me, look, everybody who has cancer, some sort of cancer, goes through hell. It's just the way it is. It's not easy. It's ridiculous. How we don't have a cure for it is mind-boggling to me, shocking to me. How we don't have a cure for cancer, it's just ridiculous. But yeah, I give you a lot of credit. I give you a lot of credit for what you're doing. So, are you doing anything in construction at all? You can't do it. Your body won't allow you to.
The pain is I'm getting shots in my back to ease the pain. So I go for my last shots on the 17th. So I was supposed to cure the pain for a whole year. So after that, I hope the union had the spot for me to go back to work.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have to go back.
The unions are pretty good about that. They're very good about that, and taking care of their own. I mean, they really are, My father was a union guy, and they took care of him very well. When he needed to take time off for family reasons, he did. And they backed him up and let him do what he needed to do, So, yeah, I'm all for the unions,
Yeah.
Yeah, well, awesome. So tell me about your daughter. Tell me about
My daughter, Dixie. She was born. In 2019, and she was in the ICU for at least 21 days. She was born with a spina bifida. So she was born with a hole in her spine. So basically, the first day she was born, she basically got a butt lift. They had to close the hole up. And she's a fighter. She, so far she has 13 surgeries, and the shunt. She's got a shunt on her head, and she's had 13 surgeries so far. And she'll go into surgery, she'll come out like nothing happened. So she's a fighter. She loves being in her wheelchair. As a 5-year-old, she does all kinds of tricks in her wheelchair already. She's my inspiration. She's everything to me.
Well, here's what I'll say to that. I don't know if you follow everything I do, but this show is all about what you said, being a fighter, because life is not easy and it's certainly not fair, no question about it. But when I saw her, and I know her, when I saw her and I saw you with her, look, I'm not going to lie to you. There was a moment where we all were at a local dance together, and the daddy-daughter dance. And I remember that something bothered Dixie to the point where she just, lost it and started crying. And I was behind you with my daughter, and I remember looking at you and watching you console her, and watching you take care of her, and watching you try to get her to calm down. And I can't explain to you what went through my mind, but I got really emotional, because here I see this guy that is going through so much of his own, has a daughter that is in a wheelchair, has been through 13 surgeries, and you're trying to, get her to the daddy-daughter dance and keep it positive. She's a lovely lady and try, young girl. And I just can't explain to you how I felt. I can't get that image of you leaning down and taking care of her candidly out of my head. I give you the highest amount of credit and respect from father to father, because you did an amazing job from what I saw.
Thank you very much. Thank
Yeah. Tony, guys don't hear that often. Guys don't hear, hey, you know what? You're actually a really great dad. Hey, you know what? You're taking care of your kids. Hey, you know what? High five. It's just one thing that guys don't hear much about, and which is, 2 words. Good job. You're doing a great job. And I could look you in the eye right now through this camera and tell you that I think you're doing a great job. I know it has to be tough. It has to be tough to stay positive, to stay strong, to stay a good role model, for Dixie. You want to shed some light on, does Dixie have a mother? Does Dixie, is she close with her mother? What's the deal there?
Yeah. She does have a mother. My ex-wife. That's the thing that hurt the most is, person who you thought was going to be by your side, thick and thin, through the cancer, chose not to be by my side. And not only is it hurting me or having an effect on me, it's also having a big effect on Dixie, which is really what hurts me the most on this whole divorce and everything that's going on, is because it hurts Dixie the most. Oh, no, yeah.
Divorce sucks, huh?
It does, especially, the way it happens, the way this one did happen. It was not very good. It was not respected, or it was something that was done behind my back. Because I also went through another stem cell transplant in October, and I feel something was going on because the ex-wife didn't take me to the hospital. My mom and my son had to take me to the hospital, and I was also in there for 3 weeks, and I didn't get a text message or a phone call from the ex-wife at the time, how I was doing. So, so I knew something was going on. Then when I got home, that's when I found out that there was another guy in my house, my daughter, while I was in the hospital like cancer.
Tony, not trying to, I know it's an emotional, conversation with regards to that, but I can tell you that, Jesus, my God, sometimes sometimes I get, for a loss of words, and that's certainly one of these occasions here. What did you do?
I just did some investigating. My sister helped me investigate because, she was saying I'm delusional, that there's another man. It was her friend from school that was over. Is now, it was her first year teaching. So she thought it was another teacher from school that was over. No.
I gotta get this straight. So you were in the hospital getting stem cell replacement therapy, right?
Yep.
Okay. So stem cell replacement therapy for several weeks, and your now ex-wife was having an affair with another man while you were in the hospital?
Yes. In my house in front of my daughter. Yes.
Huh.
Yep.
Well, Tony, this is not the Jerry Springer show. This is the Gallagher's Grip show. To shed a little bit of light on that, but nonetheless, that's insane. I'm so sorry, that happened to you. It's unbelievable. But Tony, honestly, I hear so many stories. About this particular situation. It is mind-boggling what you hear. It's mind-boggling. The level of disrespect sometimes is indescribable, and clearly see it's still hurting you, candidly. So, guy to guy, that sucks. It sucks. I'm sorry that happened for you. To you. To you. Jesus. So do you have any kind of relationship with her at any level now, given that you guys are, I would presume, you are divorced at this point?
I try to. I try to be civil with her, but the games that her and her boyfriend are on, it's it's unbelievable. It's like it's like they're being two kids. All they care about is a dollar sign. They don't. There's like not. They don't even care about Dixie. They put her through so much, and that's what hurts the most. Is we just can't have a peaceful divorce, peaceful custody. It's one headache after another.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you know what? There's a lot of series that I do, Tony, about divorces, and many more to come. And very few are peaceful. Very few are, what you would want them to be for the sake and benefit of the children. The children just tend to come, dead last in these scenarios, and it sucks. It sucks. And don't even get me started on divorce court, because that's a con system in and of itself. But nonetheless, yeah, I mean, so do you have custody of her? You got half custody? How does that work, Tony? What does that look like? Because she's just such a wonderful girl.
I'm fighting for more time with my daughter, but she won't. She won't give me more time because she promised me 50-50 when we talk in person. She said the only reason why she's going to agree to 50-50 is because I'm going to die of cancer. But now she won't give me 50-50 because she sees the child support money. So, yeah. It's a fight.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you are a victim of the divorce rigmarole, crazy system here in this state of Illinois and, at large in the country. One of the worst systems and setups that exist to do nothing but hurt, demolish, and actually make the man, for some reason, broke, working 1,000 hours a week. It's ridiculous. I don't even want to go off on a tantrum, on the divorce court. But all I can tell you from my position is, it's hard to fight, because in the divorce world, guess what? The attorney's going to charge. So, you get angry, your emotions get into it, but then the more you fight, there's not enough money to go around in a lot of cases, and it ends up, again, hurting everybody.
Yeah, it does. It does. And I even told my lawyer that my daughter comes first to me. I don't care about anything else throughout this whole divorce. I told him if I have to, I'll sell the house. I told him I don't care. I want my daughter. So I will do everything I can for my daughters. He comes first to me.
Yeah. And she should. How is she doing these days? How is she doing right now? Is she okay? Everything's good with her?
She's good. She's good. She doesn't want to leave my house when I have her. She doesn't want to go back to the apartment. She's good. It's just the games that are being played. Like the ex-wife came here last week. No problem. No issue. She walked into the house. She seen my daughter's ring. No problem whatsoever. So I was going to drop her off Wednesday at 6:30 and her play her apartment, but her boyfriend was there, and her boyfriend's got a fake OP on me. So I couldn't go there to drop my daughter off. So I came back to the house, and I messaged her, and I said, your boyfriend's there. I can't go there. I might as well come here, Dixie. So she showed up at my house with two squad cars to pick up my daughter. And the first thing out of my daughter's mouth is the cop's going to arrest me.
Yeah, you know what really pisses me off here, Tony, is, frankly, when those kinds of games are played, when the use of the law enforcement, the phony, fake BS problems that are created out of somebody's mind just to hurt and harm the man, just to keep the man away, it should be illegal. Quite frankly, it should be a Class X felony, because it's done all the time. It's done by design, and I'm not going to lie to you. So, I've experienced, a little bit of that, for other reasons. Every man, I hate to say it, may or may not experience it, but they use law enforcement. They, as in, ex-wives, they use law enforcement for all the wrong reasons, and it is a sham. It's a con, and the police officers need to start to see through that level of crap, because it's not right. It's not fair for the man, and it happens every single day, you know?
Yes, it does. Yes. Because October, when I found out that she was having an affair with this guy, I contacted a lawyer for the first time, filed for divorce. She found out about it. My lawyer warned me that she's going to put an OP on me. So the week of my birthday, November 2nd, I had to put my daughter on the toilet. So I put her on the toilet. Then I had the cops knocking at my door, and she put an OP on me. So I had to leave my daughter on the toilet, and I had to get out of my own house. I was gone for a whole month. And then the first day I was out, her boyfriend moved in.
Yeah. And, that is all done by design, as we know. Men are not stupid, obviously. That's all done strategically, perhaps a backdoor conversation with the opposing legal counsel. It makes me sick to my stomach. And so now here's a guy who was taking care of his daughter, busting his butt, taking care of her while she's using the washroom. And then all of a sudden, he's got to leave, his house. And just because an order of protection was placed on you, and the reality is, when it comes to the man and woman, the man is always wrong. The man will always get arrested first. I don't care what anybody says. The man will get arrested first. And, it should be a crime for a police officer to actually arrest the guy without doing a thorough investigation. Because let's be honest, they'll show up to the house, ask a couple questions, and the ex-wife or whomever will put on a show, and a lot of times, there goes the man with handcuffs on. I hear it 1,000 times, but I'll tell you something. Thanks to social media, it's becoming more and more known. It's becoming more and more unacceptable. Men are sick of it. People are sick of it, and we're taking a stance against that crap.
Yes. So I set up nothing but cameras in my house when I moved back in. Cameras all over my house.
Yeah, what a shame. What a shame that you have to go through that level just to prove to the court system, if and when, that you're not doing anything wrong. Let me tell you something, Tony. When I saw you, earlier in this particular podcast, when I saw you take care of your daughter, I was blown away. I was moved, and it doesn't, it takes a lot to move me. And I'm not just saying this to you. I was blown away. For anybody, in my opinion, to think that you are not fit as a dad, that you are not a great dad, that you don't have your daughter's best interest at top of mind every second of your day, it's crazy. I see a guy who would literally rip out his own heart for his daughter, right now, if he had to keep her alive and keep her happy. So again, it just makes me sick that orders of protection, use of the law in such a crazy way to just get leverage on the guy, and affect the relationship with your daughter or anybody's son or daughter. It's ridiculous. And you know what? It's got to stop. It really pisses me off. It really has to stop.
Yes, it does. The law's got to change in Illinois. It's got to favor, that there's some. It's been always favoring the mother says or the ex-wife says. It's there's got to be evidence. He's being at trial for the OP2, and the judge blacked, and the judge threw it out because I'm not. She's not in the warrant of me, and threw it out. So I was back in the house the very next day after that. Just the falseness of all these OPs of what the women says goes. It's unbelievable. The only thing that gets hurt is the child.
Yep, 100%. And here's the reality: if somebody gets an order of protection on you, then you have to leave, and then you have to live somewhere else and actually wait until the court date comes, which could be 30 days from there. So now you have to stay out of your house for 30 days, 3 weeks, or you fight to get it much sooner, whatever the case is. But you're out. You are out. And God, who cares where you go? Because they certainly don't care where you go. It's a shame. It's a shame because let me tell you something, and I'll say it again. I see an amazing dad. On the record, I see an amazing dad. I see a great father. I see somebody that would die for their daughter, in 2 seconds. And and then you take that debacle, right? And then you take your personal health. And I think that's what really moved me when I was talking to you. Really, it was, to me, my story. I believe we all have stories, but my God, it's just, it's so much to handle. And I give you so much credit for, doing it and doing it to the best of your ability. And you know what? It sucks that you have to go through that. But you know what, Tony? Millions of men do every day, and it's wrong.
Yes, it is. And, Dixie will always come first to me. And, my back hurts because you always got to pick her out, but it's a sacrifice that I'm willing to make for her. And I will continue on making. She comes first in my life, no matter what, over everybody, over myself and everybody. It will always come first.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the way it should be. And you want to know something, Tony? That's how it is with most dads. That's certainly how it is with me. Nothing else matters but my children, And it's funny how things change. You get married, you have kids, right? And then all of a sudden, you've got your first son or daughter, and that's life changing. And then, I've got two, right? Life changing. And it's amazing how much time, effort, energy, and focus goes into the children. And I'll even go as far as saying it's amazing how much time, effort, and energy is taken away from your life, as a parent, because priorities have to shift, and that's just normal, right? Find yourself set. When is the last time I actually did something for myself? When is the last time, or actually the other day I was actually thinking, what do I even like anymore? As a guy, what do I even like to do anymore? It's 100% the kids, and baseball, soccer, basketball, football, et cetera, et cetera. So, yeah, I'll tell you what, Tony, I give you a heck of a lot of credit. I just give you a heck of a lot of credit. So what do you think the end result will ultimately be? You're in court, and you're fighting to get more time with your daughter, like many millions of men are, certainly in this state that we live in. Where do you think it'll go from here? I mean, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking we got to get her own lawyer to determine custody and determine everything that has to do with Dixie. I believe it's going to come down to us spending more money for lawyers to speak up for Dixie. I mean, if it comes down to that, it comes down to that. I'm asking for more nights, and she's denying me more nights.
What do you have right now? Because the whole notion of 50-50, which is a bullcrap notion for the record, right? Oh, it's a 50 state. Well, that's not real. That's just not real. So what do you have right now?
I have her Tuesdays, and I drop her off Wednesday nights. And the only reason why she agreed to that is because Dixie goes to swim therapy on Tuesdays, and then she does she does occupational therapy on Wednesdays. So I gotta take her to therapies on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. So that's why she agreed to that. And then I got her every Friday through Sunday.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, that's okay, right?
It's okay, but no, I want more time with my daughter. I mean, it hurts. It hurts. I miss my daughter. Like today, I miss her. I miss waking up to her, cuddling with her at night, watching movies. I miss her every day. So I want more time with her.
Tony, when you mentioned, she has to get an attorney at 5 years old, why and what would be accomplished from that perspective? Would the attorney speak on her behalf to decipher where she wants to go more so?
Yes, the The lawyer will interview everybody, interview Dixie, go check out her place, the ex-wife's place, check out my place, interview the school, and basically just sit there and see uh, who she's better off.
You know, it doesn't have to be this way. It really doesn't have to be this way. You have a child, you got a mother and you got a father, and they both live for their children in most cases, right? And if there is an unfortunate divorce, why can't it just be more amicable? I mean, why does it always have to be filled with so much hatred and animosity? I mean, look, if two people don't work out, okay, and they move on, it is what it is. But you got these children, and they need you, and they need both parents, And I know there's two sides to every story, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But why does it have to be like this? I just don't get it. And here you're in the hospital. Your ex-wife is actually cheating on you with another man while you're getting replacement therapy. And you know what's interesting about that? You're in the hospital. She's the one doing all the wrong. And yet you get an order of protection put on you. You got to move out of your own house. Does anybody see the real problem, with this? I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I could see her giving me crap if it was reversed. And yeah, give me crap throughout the whole divorce, but you wanted to leave. So we should have it should be a peaceful divorce. It shouldn't be jumping through hoops. It should just be peaceful.
Yeah.
No, I don't understand. What I don't understand is hurting Dixie more than it's hurting me or more than it's hurting anybody else. It's hurting me, Dixie.
Yeah, and that's heartbreaking. And at the end of the day, it just seems like, and forgive me, but it just seems like your ex-wife really doesn't care about that fact. And certainly she doesn't care about you. And I think it just seems from what I'm reading between the lines, and I'm not an attorney, thank God, but it just seems like she's more worried about the financial side, Tony, than anything else. And let's just call it what it is. This show is about reality, and, child support and this and that and the other thing. That's really what it boils down to. It seems like. Am I wrong?
Oh, you're right. The first day she got an apartment, she moved out. She changed my daughter's address to her address so she can collect all this fake funds that comes with my daughter. Oh, yes, it basically does come down to money. I'm collecting disability and all that, and she's already taking me to the bank for child support and me collecting disability.
Yeah, so here's a guy who can't work. Here's a guy that has cancer. Here's a guy that has a tumor in his spine, right? And the man really can't work at this point in time, but yet you're getting disability, and you should take from that chunk of money and put it towards your daughter. And I know you would put 100% towards your daughter. You'd live in a cardboard box if you had to. But that's not the point here. The point is that when you get put into this divorce court system, they don't care about where your money's coming from. And they could certainly care less that Tony's living on the street. They could care less. Nobody cares when it comes to divorce. And it sucks, and it pisses me off. It really pisses me off. And I don't know when change will come.
Yeah, I don't make it well anytime soon unless we get new people in the Senate or whatever. I don't know. They gotta fix the law because it hurts basically the fathers, when they're trying to see their kids, or mothers, that's trying to see their kids. It hurts them. Yeah. And laws have to change.
Yeah. They have to change, certainly in this state that we find ourselves living in, which is probably one of the worst states for the divorce world. I can assure you that, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how you do it, man. I mean, I get emotional just, talking to you about this because, I reflect on my own situation, and And, you mentioned something earlier. I couldn't imagine waking up and my kids not being there. Quite frankly, when my kids are sleeping over at their friend's house or they're with their grandparents in another state for a week, the house is so cold and lonely and quiet. It's almost eerie. It's almost eerie, And if, now you can see when the kids grow up and they actually move out of the house, the whole empty nester, terminology there. It's like, oh my God, this is such a huge change. You can see how crazy that is,
Oh yeah, yeah. And every day she's not here, the house is different. Different tone. It's just different, and it's empty without her being here.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, I've got so much respect, for you, dad to dad, man to man, friend to friend, because it doesn't have to be. I'm staring at a man in the screen right now, and I just know he is a great dad, a great person, a great man, and would do anything for his daughter. Then to hear about the orders of protection, the leveraged use of the orders of protection to try to control and manipulate the situation, is ridiculous. And Tony, the truth is, it happens to so many men. It's unbelievable. And not to beat a dead horse, but it is a very real statement. It happens to so many men all the time, and look, the judges are not stupid. Obviously, the police officers are not stupid. They can see through, a situation. But here's the problem with that. When an order of protection is actually put out on you for whatever reason, they're going to issue an order of protection for the sake of protecting the other person until deemed otherwise, which is that follow-up court case. And in the meantime, who cares about you? You'll be living on the streets for 30 days. It's wrong.
Yes, yes, it is. And that was my first birthday without even hearing from my daughter or seeing my daughter. That was my first birthday, first week of the OP, and that was probably the worst birthday I ever had in my life.
Yeah. I can't imagine. I can't imagine that. Of course, on these kinds of shows here, you don't say specific names, but it just seems like I'll go ahead and say this in a very respectful, way, but it just seems like maybe you're better off without that particular lady in your life anymore. Referring to your ex.
Oh yes, I've been besides my daughter. I have been very very happy without her. I've never been when I was with her. I was never appreciated. I was never, there was never a thank you. You know, she was a stay-at-home mom, and me going to work, even with the cancer and all that, and busting my butt every day. There was no thank you. There was no appreciation. I was always she always found the bad in me. I always found a reason to complain about what I did, or if I didn't do dish, if I didn't turn a dishwasher on right, I got yelled at. You know, so I am very happy with her now. In my life, I am very very happy. Besides not seeing my daughter, this is the happiest I've been. Without.
What's the deal? Right? A guy wakes up, he goes to work, he busts his butt. And again, you watch some of the other stuff I put out there. It's like, why is it so hard, or what has changed? Why is it so hard to say, thank you, you're doing a good job, I appreciate you? It's just, it's such a generational change. I'm in my 40s, and my grandparents to my parents, to me, what a huge change in the whole concept of marriage, given the divorce rate is obviously through the roof. I can go on record saying, why even consider it these days? And you have a lot of people, on the social media world that explains, the percentages of failures and why even do it, and so on and so forth. And I believe all of them. I do believe most of them from a guy's perspective. it just doesn't quite seem fair. It just doesn't seem fair.
No, it's not. And the one thing that drives fathers and guys is, every once in a while being told how much we are appreciated, or just say, a thank you. I mean, that's what I want to hear from this significant other is thank you. I appreciate you. But we don't, they learn, you got to sit there and tell them all the time how much you appreciate them and how beautiful they are. We never get the same respect back. It is a shame. It is a shame that it's always one sided, through a marriage.
Tony, if you hear your wife or girlfriend or significant other say, "Hey, you're doing a really great job, and I'm proud of you," that gives a man so much energy that he would run straight through a wall if he had to. It does a lot. It does a lot for a man. You know what I mean? And it just doesn't happen. It just simply doesn't happen anymore. Which sucks. It's so easy, We're so easy. This is not rocket science, It's just what is chose so much.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Yeah, but now I found, I met this one girl on a Facebook thing in there, and she has been showing me how much she appreciates me, and she does a lot for me. So, you know,
I think the challenge in any relationship is, day one, week one, month 6, year 1. It's perfect. It's great. Hello, how are you? I love you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Right? And then all of a sudden, perhaps, I hope this is not the case for many out there, but year 2, year 3, what do you need? What do you want? I have to go, et cetera, et cetera. It's just, it's so hard to keep the spark. It's so hard to keep the energy in the relationship. Certainly it's even more difficult when you have children, in the scene. Let's be honest, because, you're never, you're very, I mean, you're basketball, baseball, soccer, you're at practices, in your case, you got a lot of things to deal with there. And it's tough. It's just tough. But boy, oh boy, has it changed.
yeah, it's strange too because of what I say, social media. Because when I always came home, whatever, we were basically like in the same house, but just constantly just behind the phone. From the minute I walked in that house, to the minute she closed her eyes, go to sleep. Always pay attention to the phone. And I think that's what's hurting relationships too. It's just social media. Everybody just on their phone instead of pay attention to the person next to
Tony, when I am out with my son at events and or at other people's houses, when you actually look at the kitchen table, let's say this kitchen table seats 8, okay, and everybody's got their own viewpoints or opinions on social media, iPads, iPhones, etc. But I wouldn't doubt if 6 out of the 8 are watching their iPhone or watching their iPad or on YouTube, etc. And you're 100% correct. And, it's interesting because when you say get off the phone or get off the iPad, it becomes this worldly problem. And it's so difficult to keep the peace and keep everything calm when you do ask, the kids to do that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It does. It does because, you tell a kid get off the phone and it's, basically murder or whatever. They throw a tantrum and they start screaming and slamming stuff down. It's like, oh my gosh, really? It's just a phone.
Yeah.
Get at that.
Yep. But they're addicted to it, just like this Fortnite game. They're all addicted to it. They all got the headsets on. I walked into my son's room the other, when he first started playing. This is going back some time, and I'm hearing him talk to somebody on the the headset, and I'm thinking, who are you talking to? What is this? This, it's all my friends from school, and I know all his friends from school. I know all their, they're at my house quite often. And he's like, yeah, it's this guy, this guy, this guy, this. I'm like, you're on with them right now. You're playing with them right now as we speak. I hear him talking. I'm like, I can see how that would be unbelievably addicting. When I grew up, we had Nintendo gun. My favorite game was Duck Hunter and Nintendo, shooting screen. I mean, that was so much fun. Whole different world now.
Oh, yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yeah. She had a 12-year-old son, and he would sit there and always play Fortnite. And we have to sit there and keep tabs of his account of who his friends were. He would just meet people during the game, just add them as friends.
Yeah.
Talking to them. So, like, we all know this person.
Yeah.
We had to go to his friends list and delete people we did not know.
Yeah. Yep. 100%. Well, I'll tell you what, Tony, I'm gonna say this. I'm happy that I know you, and I'm very thankful that you came on this show, and I'm very sad about your situation, but you really represent what this show is all about, which is being a fighter and not quitting. At the end of the day, that is Gallagher's grip. I mean, here's a guy that's fighting cancer, that has a daughter in a wheelchair, and has to help her every step of the way. There's really no taking a break, with a situation like that. So I already know that you're putting extra effort into that on a daily basis. And she's a lovely girl. She's just amazing. And so are you. And you know what? You are doing a great job, and you are a good guy. I've seen it with my own eyes, and you are an amazing father. And I think that you are the American, dad when it comes to what every American father, unfortunately, goes through if they do go through a divorce, which you get royally screwed. And, for that, I'm disgusted, with that. I just am. And, I see you right now. I wish there was something more that we could do to help you, certainly to fight the fight, because that's all it is. And it's exhausting. I read an article one time that most guys just give up because they're not fight. They don't want to fight. They want to go on with life, and live,
I mean, I can't give up. I can't give up on Vixie. Yeah. No, there's no way. I don't care how tiring this fight gets. I'll always fight.
Yeah.
She picked the wrong father to mess with.
Yeah.
Basically.
I could see that. I would back you up 100%. Certainly from what I've seen, there's no question about it. There's no question about it. But all right, Tony. Well, you know what? I am so happy that you actually came on the show. Is there any final word that you want to say to any of the guys out there that might be struggling with regards to, divorce and or custody battles? Anything at all?
Yeah. Just stay positive and put up a good fight. Don't give up. Kids come first.
Yeah. Yeah. Ain't that the truth, right? All right, Tony, you have yourself a wonderful, wonderful day. You give Dixie a big hug for us here. And if you need anything, you call Gallagher's Grip. We'll be behind you as much as we can.
All right. Thank you very much.
Appreciate you being on the show. You have a great day.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.